guys, so I am sat here on, let's get the dates right, Tuesday, June the 5th. I have a bucket of coffee that is desperately needed. Bear with me whilst I have a sip. We're gonna have another sip, but it's desperately needed. I am here this evening with part 4 of my reading vlog for The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. This beautiful book. And so part 4 was supposed to be pages about 300 to about 400, but I couldn't stop reading. So this is kind of a little chunk where I'm going to discuss the last part of the book. So it's from roughly page 310, 20, I can't remember where I was from the last video, right up to the end of the book, which is about 470 pages. And oh my lord. I mean, let's just start by saying, I'm giving you warning now. You know there have been spoilers in the last 3 videos, so if you've read the book, then fantastic. I feel the need to tell you now, there's going to be spoilers in this video. I wanted to discuss the end of this book, not being too cryptic, because it'll be too hard, okay? So if you've not read it and you want to read it, or you are reading it and you're about to get to this point, please maybe put this video on your watch later list and come back. And if you don't mind books being spoiled for you before you actually read them, if you're going to read them or you're going to see the film because it's being made into a film, continue watching, stay with me, yay. So the last part of this book in terms of plot was very... It amazes me how fast-paced this book has been, and not only because you're in Todd's head and so you're with him through it, and there's whole chapters where he's just walking, you know, they're walking through woods to get to the next settlement. Even those are interesting because I think that because you're in his head, and I just love this idea of noise. The more I think about it, the more I'm fascinated with it, because not only is the book kind of a version of Todd's noise that we can hear. It's almost like we've got noise because we can hear his thoughts, and Viola can hear them, and we're kind of with Viola in a way, because you're hearing everything as well. So I think that's fascinating to me, and I love the thing in this book. There's a little bit of sort of part of the writing style is there'll be a paragraph that's completely in Todd's head, Todd thinking about something or other, and then it happens throughout the book. Then the character, somebody he's with, responds immediately to something he's thought about. And I love that, because in so many books in first person, the character has the thought, then you follow their thought process and their opinion and what they want to say, and then they have to say it, and then they get a reaction. Where, because you're in Todd's head, you get the thought process, you get the emotions behind it, you get his struggle, you get kind of lots of questions and thoughts and comments about what he's thinking about. And then the person next to him can just respond, knowing the whole picture. You know, he could have made a really distinctive decision about something, and then, but kind of you understand how he got there. You understand other questions he might have thought, and he considered other things. And this person with him knows that, like us, like we do, the reader. It's almost like Viola's reading this book too. So that, I love that, and that happens throughout the book, and I hope that continues. So in terms of plot, then they are hunted through another couple of settlements, and the settlements get kind of stranger and stranger the more they go on. There's one where Todd sees a man's sort of long building and a woman's long building, and they live separately. And I suppose in this world where women don't have noise and men do, that does kind of make sense. Leave the women sleep. Weirder though, and a little bit darker, is the next one. I can't remember the name of it, but it is one where Todd is injured and he's not very well. He's sick, and he wakes up in a bed there, and it's a settlement that's where the men are very, very much in charge, and think very well of each other and don't think very well of women, and they basically think of women as baby making factories essentially, and they have them housed in a little bit along the way where they are making babies. So that's quite a dark little place to be, but it was an interesting it's an interesting concept, and all the settlements have slightly different shades of dark, I guess, because they're all dealing with this noise in different ways. And so that was, I liked the idea to explore. I didn't enjoy the idea, but I understand that was an interesting read, and I liked that. And the plot, so it moves along quite significantly, very significantly. So much happens. I don't want to spoil this for you guys, I really don't, but there's this one thing that happens that if you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. You just know I read it and I couldn't believe it was happening, and I got quite emotional. Actually, I got really upset. I was reading it and I was like, no, 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 no. And then I was like, oh, no. And Jay was next to me and he was just like, are you okay? And I just thought, no, something terrible has just happened and it can't be taken back, and it's done. And it was very, very sad. I'm actually not going to tell you what it is, but it's very, very sad, and it changes Todd. It does, and that was the point, I guess. And I get it, but I was gutted. I was gutted. So sad. And the way it happens, and let's move on before I get upset. So, Aaron, I was right, he's a complete nasty pasty, and I wanted to discuss very, very briefly the fact that sort of one of the main villains in this story is a man of the church. He is the priest or the vicar of Prentice Town, and that's quite a bold move to make. Well done, Mr. Ness. I like that. I did enjoy that. You know, they're holy. They're supposed to be people good. They're supposed to be good. You know, people of the church are meant to be good. And I know that obviously we live in a world when we're not naive, and we understand that that isn't the case. But it's just very fascinating that this group of settlers who essentially were church settlers, they wanted to come here and they wanted to farm and create an Eden and a back to basics way of life, and they put a lot of their faith on the line, essentially, in this one particular man, Aaron, who is a man of God, is an arsehole. He's horrible. And so that's a bold move. I enjoyed that move, and I think that Aaron, he hunts Todd and Viola, like, properly across this world, and he ends up getting so, like, disfigured and cut, and he's very very striking image of him, the way he looks at the end of this book. And actually that's makes him really gruesome, disfigured, and scary, really, really scary. And Todd has to face up against him. Oh, I picked my coffee up. Clearly I needed another sip. Oh, thank God. What would we do without coffee? Basically, Aaron and Todd have to have a confrontation at the end of this book, and they do have a confrontation, and it is suitably, it's what's needed, and it's what's I'm really glad in a way that the story went there, that Todd had to confront Aaron. And I did like the sort of bit of a twist, which I won't explain to you here because I don't want to ruin it. But I'm so torn between ruining things and talking about them. It's hard work. But it was, there's been talk about this sort of what does Aaron want through the book? I've kind of been wondering, what does Aaron want? Why is he hunting Todd? What is so special about Todd and Viola? Why does he want them? You kind of think at one point, well, is it because Viola is a girl and she has arrived seemingly from nowhere and has kind of ruined Prentice Town? That's kind of what I initially thought, and it turns out I was completely wrong. Gladly so, because the reason behind Aaron's hunt is a lot more fiendish than that, and it's a really good conclusion to that story. I liked that part of the book. It does end rather abruptly, and rightly so, I think, at this point too, because obviously this is the first volume of 3 of the Chaos Walking trilogy. And it has made me want to immediately read the next one, and I will actually be reading it next. There are some lovely moments at the end of this book. Strangely, there is some really, really sweet moments, parts where Todd really is growing up and becoming a man, and a man that he wants to be, not the man that everybody else expects him to be, and that's a really nice thing. It takes it out of him, but it's his journey, and it's really interesting as well, because I was wondering why this book was called The Knife of Never Letting Go. I was just, why is it called that? And actually you don't find out right until the end, and that is fascinating too. When you get there, leave a little comment below and tell me what you think of that. That was good. What else can I say? There were a couple of moments where you kind of went, and not just the thing that happened earlier, which we won't talk about, otherwise I might cry. But there are a few moments where it's shocking and it's cliffhangery, and yeah, it was great, and it has made me immediately go out and buy the next one. So I've ordered it and it's on its way, peeps. I cannot wait. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Actually, you know what? This might be my favourite book of the year so far. I think it might be. And I've enjoyed a lot of my books this year. I've had a very good run of reading this year for the first time in a long time. So this is one of my favourites. It is this one I'm going to read again and again. I can see it now. I don't know what's taken me so long to get here. I'm so glad I have. Yeah, so that kind of concludes the reading vlog about this book. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually continue the reading vlog through Chaos Walking. I'm going to just go through the trilogy now. I don't think I'm going to read anything else other than this trilogy for June. I think it's going to be kind of my June read, and this makes me happy. You should read this book. It's a really, really good bit of literature. Really good. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you again soon. Bye.